What's going on, Facebook? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is your favorite legacy coach, Coach Monique Beck, and I'm coming to y'all live and direct from South Bend, Indiana, as always. Well, not always, but today I'm coming to you from South Bend, Indiana. And I wanted to come on here and do a little check-in with my sisters because listen, I understand that the holiday season is upon us. And we about to go what? Spend our last dollar making something happen for the kids, right? Getting ourselves looking good. We're going to buy all the dressing for the table for Thanksgiving. But I wanted to talk about that for a minute and kind of bring all of that stuff together and pull it in so that we're not in a place where we are paying for a one day, right? Paying for one day and then allowing that to be set up in our lives for 4 years. So I made a post earlier today talking about that, but let me first digress. This is the Legendary Woman series. And with the Legendary Woman series, we are talking about that awesome, wonderful, wise woman in the Bible, the Proverbs 31 woman. And we know that she was simply out cold, right? She was doing a lot of things. She had money. She had, she had a good name, which is something that we can't buy. We can't buy a good name. No matter how much money we have, our name has to be something that is based on our reputation. So that means that she had an amazing reputation in her community and even in her family. And even her children praised her. And so as a legendary woman, right, as I like to can't think of the word and I ain't gonna try to pull it. But let me just say this, that legendary woman, she has a lot of great attributes that we often try to aspire towards as women. We know she wore many roles because she was a wife, right? She probably was a mother. She was a business owner, a woman of God. And so she had lots of things that she did, but she did them well. She did them well. She was dedicated to the cause. But she also spent her money well. And so I want to talk today a little bit about that post that I made, which was based on a source, on some information that I got. But it's talking about the holidays are coming, right? And because the holidays are coming, we understand that for most of America, because that's just what we do, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and even New Year's Eve, we spend money. We spend money on those things. Why? Because we want to have a good time. We want to be with family. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to enter into Thanksgiving and give thanks for all the things that we've been through. It's a time for us to gather. But that can be a very expensive time for us when we are spending money that we have not allocated specifically for those purposes. And so as we know, the legendary woman in the Bible, she had money, right? And so when it was time for her to purchase something, she was positioned to sell. She considered it, but then she went and she bought that field. That's what the Proverbs 31 talks about. I don't know if there's anybody on watching me because I don't know. Facebook has made some updates. It looks like no, not yet. But I'm going to keep going anyway because I know that people are going to come back and view. And so, listen, the holidays are coming. And it has been projected that people on average are going to spend about $968. $968 on multiple things. But let me talk about what those things are. Because I think it's important for us to really dissect and count up the cost when it's time to buy something. If we know we really don't have the money, if we know that our house is going to be put in shambles because we make this decision financially, because we're not prepared for what that's going to look like in the future when it's time for us to pay that back. And so let me pull up this post. I should have pulled it up on my screen so you guys could have seen it. But let me just go to the post because I made it on my phone and then we'll get into it. But I'm going to tell you, interest is the cost of money. Interest is the cost of money, and it's actually $998 that they're going to be spending. Interest is the cost of money. And so anytime you don't actually have cash and you go and get a line of credit, if you go and borrow, whatever you do, there is interest that normally has to be paid back in a certain period of time. Now, of course, the person that you got the credit from, they want their money back. But sometimes some creditors would love nothing more than for you to take your absolute time paying it back. And listen, if you went out and you swipe your card for groceries, and you went out and you swipe your card for gifts, if you went out and you swipe your cards for all these things, and you knew that you did not have the money in your account, you were fully aware that you were going to have to pay that money back in the future, but you also knew that you did not have the money to spend. Okay. And so let's talk about this. Consumers plan to spend $998 on average this year. What is the breakdown? $650 of that $998 is going to be on gifts for the family, the friends, and coworkers. So, we got the Secret Santa or the white elephant at jobs. We don't want to be that person that's not going to buy a gift. And sometimes those gifts have dollar amount set. So maybe it's $25, and you don't want to be that person that gets a gift and doesn't give a gift. So now you're feeling the pressure from the holidays. And so now you go ahead and you do the Secret Santa. And then maybe you have Secret Santa in your family too. And you say, you listen, I'm only going to buy for one person. You buy for you buy for that person. And then that's how we're going to do it. And that's another $25. So all of that stuff adds up. You got kids, right? Things are going to be on sale. We got Black Friday coming up. So that's a huge thing for people where they're going to be spending money. So we got $650 spent on gifts for family, friends, and coworkers. Then we have $230 on non-gift holiday purchases, such as food and decorations. And so, yeah, sometimes we do reuse decorations year after year after year, but maybe there's a good sale. And so now we're going to go ahead in the spirit of Christmas, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, in the spirit of the holidays. We get swept away and we want to start doing something. So we now going to buy the food. Now, when we would normally spend maybe $25 for a meal for our families, we're willing to spend $150 for that one day, that one meal, because we want that meal to be grand. We want people to have a good time. We want them to be able to take advantage of the lasagna and the turkey and the macaroni and cheese and the collard greens and whatever, which is fine, right? But when you don't have the money and you put your family in jeopardy for one day, that in lies the problem. It's not so much that you're spending the money, but you have to prepare for the time before it gets there, right? You got to prepare for what's going to take place, for what you're saying that you want to do. And then lastly, of that $998 is $117 that's going to be spent on other holiday purchases for themselves or their families. This is not even including gas, right? So if you're traveling, going out of town, and you want to go spend time with your family, let's say your family lives in Ohio, you live in Florida, you're going to go ahead and take that road trip. You're going to get the gas money together. Even and if you don't have the money, you'll just swipe the card. So you swipe the card. And so, of course, as we know, most people are going to spend about $998, but that's just the average. So you can imagine some people are spending $2,000, $3,000 just for throughout the holidays. But let's talk about this though. Let's count the cost. So on December 25th, let's say December 25th, 2022, your balance is $998. Okay, great. Your credit limit is $1,000. You spent $998, and now you're going to make the minimum payments on your card because you already didn't have the money, and you have other things that you got to do. So now you're going to pay $35 a month on the credit card to satisfy them. That $35 a month, though, is not going to be without interest. And so I've seen credit cards, and I went on the high end with the credit card, but I've seen credit cards with about a 29.99% interest rate, APR. So remember, interest is the cost of money. And so now, $35 a month, it would take you 49 months, which is almost 5 years. Well, it's a little bit over 4 years to pay back that credit card. $35 a month, 49 months, The total interest that you will pay on a $998 balance is $706. So the total that you would pay for a 1 day holiday, Thanksgiving, for Christmas, right? We buying gifts, we buying food, we buying decorations, we're buying gas because we're going out of town. We getting outfits for ourselves. Maybe we got a Christmas party that we're going to. We want to make Christmas cookies. We doing all this stuff. We spending about $1,000 on that. But when it takes you the 4 years to pay it back, you will pay it back by January of 2027. January of 2027. $1,700 in total, 1704 to be exact, in total is what you will pay on $998 today. Now the question is, why? Okay. Why do we keep putting ourselves in the position? As women, we got to be wise, wisdom. Now, even though there's some things that we want to accomplish, it's okay to do that stuff, but we got to budget for that stuff. We got to plan for that stuff. We got to put a little bit here and a little bit there, and knowing what our expectations are, so that when that time comes, it's not an impact to our household. Have you ever been in a position where you've had holidays come up and you spent that money, and like, you already know the light bill is due, it's already past due, so you pay a little bit on the bill. Your water bill is past due, you pay a little bit on that bill. And mind you, because of inflation, everything is up. And so even the utilities are higher because of COVID. They playing games. Okay, I'm just gonna say they playing games. Everything is more expensive. So for us to spend money on things that we don't absolutely need in that moment could potentially cause us to pay for 5 years on something that has been long digested. The food gonna be gone in the same day, right? That's the way our bodies are designed. Those kids are gonna forget about those gifts. By next year, they be looking for something else. The little Christmas decorations, they about to be in the garage, and they gonna sit up for the entire year until it's time for Christmas again. But that bill is gonna stick with us for 49 months with a 29% interest rate. That's a huge deal. Can you imagine what you could have done with that additional $700 a month? Miss, that additional $700. That $700 could have been invested in a Roth IRA. That $700 could have went in a college fund for your kids to go to school. That $700 could have been put away for the next holiday if you just put it in your bank. So we're signing up to be in debt to someone, where really the goal is for us to owe no man nothing but to love him. So we got to get to the place that we are planning out our expenses. So it's totally okay when you sit down with me and we do a budget. The budget is going to show you everything that you want to spend money on throughout the year. So this is the perfect time. This is the perfect time for you to sit down and get your financial freedom game plan, so that you can take a look at all of your expenses, what you would have spent throughout the year, whether or not you want to take a trip. You start putting that stuff in the categories where the trips are. So if you're going to take 2 trips a year and you say, I want to spend at least $2,000 on the trips, well, let's break it out in 12 months. What is that going to look like with inflation added? Because we understand inflation is changing the cost of stuff. And so it's important for us to make sure that we giving our money an instruction, because if we don't know what the total cost is, we are liable, or we could potentially fall into doing anything and then have to pay the price. So what happens when you can't keep up with the $35 minimum payments? Because when you first hear about it, it sounds like something that's totally doable. I could just pay $35. But what if you keep doing that over and over and over again, year after year after year? Because every year being in a position where you can't buy the Christmas gifts, you can't buy the food, you can't buy the stuff that you want. And so now you put it on a credit card. And by next year, your credit card balance should be lower, right? If you're not still using the card. So now we get into a place where it's maxed out. Most people statistically are $100 transaction would max out their credit cards. And so you got to ask yourself this question: what is most important? Is it most important for me to have all these things? And I know that it is already, holiday season is coming already. Or do I need to just make more money so I don't have to put my money on put my these things that I want on credit cards? So it's so many things that could be done. But listen, I want to encourage you ladies. Get you a budget together. Write down your expenses. Plan for your expenses. Plan for the things that you know right now that you already want to do, and take a look at what that looks like in your future. Don't wait until the time comes to say, man, I got to go get me a turkey, a ham, macaroni and cheese and everything else. And I understand some people don't have to spend money on food, but some people do. And when you have to spend money on food, listen, the way these prices are set up, you're going to spend about 200 something dollars on the Thanksgiving meal. Because you know how most people do. It's not just turkey, mashed potatoes, and corn and some rolls. No, it's going to be lasagna. We about to do some jambalaya. We about to do all types of banana pudding. We about to do three types of cakes. We about to do Christmas cookies. We about to do everything. And that costs all those ingredients. When you count it all up, it costs. If we want to do it on a high level, we about to spend about 400-500 on some food. We want ribs, we want turkey, we want dressing, and we don't want the box dressing. We want it from scratch. So not only are we going to spend money, but we also going to spend money on higher utilities because we about to be cooking all night. It's like so, like when you think about it like that, and I didn't always think like that, but I do now because I'm drawing attention to my finances. I want to do better with my money, right? And so I don't want to have my money in a bag with holes in it. I got to be strategic about this thing. I don't want to be in a position where I'm at that place. I know I need to get something, but now I gotta use my cards because I haven't planned. But we already know the time is coming. So this is the perfect time, ladies. Inbox me, set an appointment. I'm going to put the link to a meeting in this video so that you guys can kind of just go on there and schedule sometimes. I'm only going to do them on certain days. And so see what is available. Get me booked on your calendar and let us sit together. Let us reason together. Let us take a look at your finances to see where we can be of help. And if anything, you're better for it, right? You got a plan going into the new year. January is around the corner. It's going to be 2023. It is literally snowing in Elkhart right now. I was just talking to somebody. It's snowing in Elkhart. And so listen, we got to make sure that we are positioning ourselves to win, not just the day, but let's win the year. You know, we can only plan so far. We understand that things are going to happen. But listen, while things are happening, you can still be prepared as you can be for the things that are going to come up. You already know you got light bills. You already know you got car note, but you know that you're going to spend money on Thanksgiving. You know you're going to spend money for Christmas. You know you're going to spend money for the new year. You know you're going to do whatever you're going to do. And so start planning for that stuff now